Hey there, welcome to Catalyst Energies. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is your daily Catalyst Astrology report for July 1st, 2020. Let's get into the chart. Share that screen. All right, let's get right into it. We have our sun, 10 to 11 degrees of Cancer. We just round up for the Sabian symbols. So our sun is 11 degrees Cancer. Mercury is retrograde still, right? Venus, now direct in Gemini, moving forward. Mars is at 3 degrees of Aries and is getting deeper into his home territory every single day. And we have now our moon in Scorpio in the last decan, the last 10 degrees of Scorpio. The moon will transit into Sagittarius today. Saturn will move back into his home territory of Capricorn. And right before that happens, the moon in Sagittarius is going to then sextile Saturn in Capricorn. The moon in late Scorpio is also trine to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and the moon in late Scorpio again is also sextile to Jupiter, Pluto, and also what you don't see here is Pallas Athena, all conjunct in Capricorn, all retrograde. And Pallas Athena, she is the goddess of wisdom and strategy. So she is the goddess of war, but she focuses on wisdom and strategy in order to avoid bloodshed at any cost. But she will participate in battle if necessary, if that is the right strategy. Mars is just the warrior, he's just charging forward, right? That his job is to be the warrior, whereas Pallas Athena, she focuses more on what is the best strategy in order to address the enemy or the war, the battle. And so I already talked about this in my larger special astro report. This is just the daily. So the moon in Scorpio, we have learned a lot. We have dug down in, we have looked at the deeper layers, we are pulling back the curtain. And the moon is about our individual personal experience. It is our emotional, it is the divine feminine, it is what we're intuiting, it is what we're feeling. And Scorpio is definitely all about feeling and emotion. It is fixed water. But by the time we get to this point, we have taken things that we have seen, that we have experienced, that we have felt in the deep waters of Scorpio, and now we're bringing it back to the surface. And so this connection to Neptune in retrograde in Pisces, we've gone from direct to retrograde. So while it was direct, we were in this really foggy, formless, delusional, also imaginative realm, and we're almost looking for some sort of like answer or anything to ground into, but it's been out there. So now that it's retrograde, Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, we are doing this work on the inside now. We are looking within to find the imagination and the inspiration. We're looking within to discover what is illusion and what is actually real, as opposed to looking for it out there. Because Pisces and the 12th house especially, but Pisces and Neptune is about media, it's about propaganda, it is about deception in a lot of ways. And so now that Neptune is retrograde, we get a really important opportunity to start looking within for where are we deceiving ourselves, what propaganda are we telling ourselves, and where are we inspired, where's our spiritual nature really within us. And so as we get into late Scorpio and the moon, there is a beautiful connection here with what we're learning about our own personal ethics and morals, what we have discovered when we pull back the curtain and see things for what they really are when it comes to power dynamics. And is it conscionable, right? Is it something that we are willing, are we going to follow orders, or are we going to follow our own orders? And that's really Neptune retrograde, is like looking within and discovering the truth in the inspiration within, the spiritual nature within, not out there, not looking for it outside of us. And then when the moon then sextiles all of this Jupiter, Pluto, Pallas Athena energy in late Capricorn, this is, we have X-ray vision now with a moon in late Scorpio. We can see through the external structures to the deeper structural factors that are part of life. And the sextile is harmonious, but requires some sort of activation. We have to interact with it. We have to use it as an opportunity, but it is harmonious. And so we see through the deeper structures. And hopefully what we see is that this Jupiter Pluto conjunction that is open, this portal, is really this portal that is going to suck everything out that is falling away from the old paradigms, the old structures. And as long as we're able to see through to that, then we are going to be able to hold our own as this becomes more and more powerful and really peaks around the full moon lunar eclipse. The sun has moved into 11 degrees of Cancer today. This is something that the Mercury was at yesterday. You can tell now that they have flip-flopped. They have, especially because Mercury is going retrograde, so it's going back over all this territory that the sun has already been in, bringing the mind to reassess all of this early Cancer energy about where we are emotionally rooted, what positions have we taken, where is our foundation, how are we rooted to the core of who we are. And this degree, 11 degrees of Cancer, is very interesting. It's a clown characterizing well-known personalities. And it's really about using humor to find objectivity and independence of mind, right? That when the clown serves a purpose, the jester serves a purpose, the joker serves the purpose. Heyoka is a sacred clown, and it draws attention to these exaggerated features and allows us to not only laugh at ourselves and our ridiculousness, but also to see how absurd some things are when it comes to, and this is when it comes to what we align ourselves with. And this is really important to keep in mind, that the sun today is at this position. So then Mercury is also going to square Chiron. So this is very reminiscent of yesterday, where the sun had squared Chiron, which was incredibly challenging. So with Mercury retrograde, at least it's moved into the mind and the thoughts and the communication now. And we are looking a lot more, we're discerning a lot more in this Mercury retrograde time. And so the square to Chiron, again, in the same degree, not only it's going to be challenging, but now we've moved it out of our heart space and out of identifying with it, with the sun, and now into the realm of the mind and being very discerning and actually looking at it without this passionate attachment that we get when the sun is representing whatever aspect to us. Like I said, Saturn is going to move back into Capricorn today, and right as that's happening, the moon moving into Sagittarius is going to also sextile this energy. So as Saturn moves back into Capricorn, it is definitely making things very real, and making things very real in the way that the last degree of Capricorn is about the secret board meeting of people making decisions, right? That's going to become something that we have to come to terms with again. Saturn has been in Aquarius and has been showing us in a lot of ways and manifesting in real time and real form the Aquarian age, but now going back into Capricorn. It is, we still have to go back and contend with all this late Capricorn energy, especially because it's Saturn's home territory. And still look at this reality, because that is, and especially because it's the reality, part of it is the reality that is going to get sucked through this Jupiter Pluto portal that is going to be at its full strength with the full moon lunar eclipse. I cannot stress enough how important this time is and how incredibly potent it really is. And if you're watching astrology at all, or any kind of energetic updates, any of this stuff, how important this time really is. And so, as today is still an extension of yesterday's energy. It's all part of this one big moon transit through Scorpio, and then we move into Sagittarius. So there's going to be a lift, there's going to be some optimism, but there's also going to be this personalized experience with truth and belief systems, and possibly dogma as well. There's an expansion here, but there's also a sense of understanding on a personal and feeling level. And so when this sextile to Saturn, right before Saturn moves into Capricorn, we're going to get an opportunity to take that belief and that truth and that understanding and activate it somehow with this Aquarian aspect. And it really depends on how you see, because there's a dark side to Aquarius, just like there's a dark side to every single part of the zodiac. So it just depends on how you're looking at it, but it's going to become very real as Saturn moves back into Capricorn. The moon is also at the very last degree of Scorpio is going to quincunx, right? That is an in conjunct. And there is 30 degrees of Scorpio is trickster energy. It is prankster energy. And it's not only that, but it's socially sanctioned prankster energy, right? It is an outlet for immature energies, because just because we've gone into Scorpio and came to terms with all of this darkness doesn't mean that we actually like have mastered it. That's what Sagittarius is for. That is the energy of Sagittarius, is to take that information and put it to use, and develop the understanding through the time we spend in that zone. But the last degree of Scorpio is much more about like, here's some sanctioned outlet for everything that we've learned, because we're still really immature. It's children in Halloween costumes. You know what I mean? It's like we're playing like we're goblins and evil, but it's really just a socially sanctioned way to let this energy out until we actually become more mature with it, which is what happens when we move through Sagittarius and Capricorn. So the quincunx here is again going to be to the North Node in Gemini, which is, you know, it is the beauty pageant. It is the best of our, and for all of the failings of these actual images, we have to still look into the archetypal and symbolic references of what they mean. Very much back to Chiron at 10 degrees Aries, a teacher gives new symbolism to traditional images, right? Like if we haven't dealt with how triggered we are, by the traditional images and not seeing them as symbolic to something much more expansive, then yeah, we're going to be triggered by every image that comes along. But it's really, last degree Gemini is really about having the best everything that we have collected in terms of empirical data put out in front of us, and then we make our choice. What is the best? And then you choose, and then you ground in. That's 0 degrees of Cancer. So this prankster energy, this socially sanctioned like prankster energy that comes with 30 degrees Scorpio, is going to not at all line up with where our collective karmic destiny is. And you can really see that playing itself out in a lot of the demonstrations, the social demonstrations, the not peaceful protests that are coming. And people are just looking, they need an outlet for everything we all need an outlet for everything that we have learned about the darkness of power dynamics, especially within ourselves, because the moon is about a personalized experience and how we feel. So there's going to be a moment of adjustment here that comes with this quincunx. And then from there, that's when the moon sextiles Saturn. And then Saturn moves into Capricorn. And then the moon is on her way through Sagittarius. So this is really an extension from yesterday. This is, like I said, it's one, the moon transit is one kind of conglomerate of time that started when the moon moved into Scorpio, and will in fact end with Saturn moving into Capricorn and the moon moving into Sagittarius. And at this point, this is when we start taking everything that we've learned and applying it to a sense of understanding on an individual, on a personal, and in a feeling-based level. And so there is some optimism, and there is an ability to express truth with the moon in Sagittarius. And there is an emotional desire for truth with the moon in Sagittarius. And tomorrow it's going to be trining Mars in Aries, right? Is going to be trining Chiron in Aries. And so however we're engaging with these energies is really going to support where we personally and individually and intuitively are aligning with what we perceive as truth and belief and our dogma, essentially. So there's so much to be gained from understanding. But remember, this is where the south node of our moon is in Sagittarius. It's obviously not here forever, but right now, this is the old paradigm. belief systems, religion, philosophies, truth, right? We're going to be in Gemini for a while, which is empirical data. It has no truth or belief system or dogma associated with it. It's just raw information. And the more that we can align with this aspect, I think the better off we're going to be. But that's for everybody to personally decide. And it doesn't mean that there isn't truth to connect to, but it's personal truth, right? And we each have to come to terms with that on our own. Nobody can do that for us. And this is about how we feel and where our intuition is. So that's the Daily Catalyst for July 1st, 2020. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next installment. Take care of yourselves. Bye.